Newly elected Member of Parliament for West End and Bimini taking to the national airways to discuss a vision and the way forward for this Northern Island. Local Teachers Union executive weighs in on the country's newly appointed Minister of Education and some challenges in this vital sector. A group of professionals on Grand Bahama exploring the latest skills in their field of expertise.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Shashina Rolla. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news this evening, the Free National Movement government hitting the ground running following a resounding victory at the polls on May 10th. Less than 3 weeks later, local members of parliament are already hard at work. Tonight, the only female elected on Grand Bahama is talking a bit about the way forward for this island. The former ZNS television news anchor was a special guest today on the nationally televised Darrell Miller Live. Sabrina Brown reports.
Member of Parliament for West Grand Bahama and Bimini, Pakeisha Parker Edgecombe, made history on May 10th, becoming the first female to win that seat, making her only the second FNM candidate to represent that constituency. The veteran journalist was a television anchor at ZNS Northern Service for years, having worked her way through the ranks. With an extensive background in broadcasting, Edgecombe was appointed Parliamentary Secretary for Information and Communications in the Office of the Prime Minister, with responsibility for the Broadcasting Corporation. But as an elected official, she says a top priority is to make Grand Bahama grand again.
It's about remaining at the table and focusing on the formula that works. I think a lot of times we come, and yes, there is room for innovation and differences as far as moving forward and growth and development is concerned. But when you have something that is proven to work, I think it has to be the blueprint.
Absolutely.
And there is no more of just doing something for doing something's sake, but actually ensuring that what you're bringing forward works and using other formulas that have demonstrated that as your model.
Absolutely.
And every area has their uniqueness. And what
Absolutely.
it is that we have to realize that that is what's going to make the difference. What works in Freeport may not necessarily work in West End and vice versa. There are different areas that need different
Focus.
and that is what we have to hone in on and make sure it comes about.
The Free National Movement government plans to promote Grand Bahama as a primary location for local and international film and television industries, as outlined in the speech from the throne. Edgecombe says this is big news for this island.
Wow.
It is a billion-dollar industry. And if we can only tap into a small segment of that, it will bode well for Grand Bahama and the entire Bahamas. What we have to offer in this country as far as scenery is concerned is absolutely wonderful. We have to tap into all of it. And I believe that you would have seen from movies in the past, such as Pirates of the Caribbean and all of those different things. We can have it again. It's just a matter of tapping into the right partnerships and letting people know that we are open for business.
The West Grand Bahama and Bimini MP says she will also focus on ensuring that West End regains its prominence as the capital of Grand Bahama by developing that constituency.
The GIN project that was supposed to come on stream, the government dock, more of tours and tourists in our area, a cleaning of our environment to attract foreign and domestic investment. It's all of that combined, and these are the areas that we're going to be focusing on. We do know that when you think about it, as far as our proximity is to Florida, we're the closest, aren't we? And we're saying, look, we want a piece of Florida. We want more than just persons coming from the Freeport area on a Sunday. We want to see that community very, very vibrant and have persons coming from around the world.
Sabrina Brown, ZNS Network News.
Well, former Minister of Grand Bahama, Dr. Michael Darville, is responding to comments made by the new State Minister for Grand Bahama Senator, the Honorable Kwesi Thompson, who last week charged that following a preliminary investigation of that ministry, a number of findings were disturbing. Among them, funds paid during the hurricane relief efforts, as well as jobs and salaries of others hired to work for that ministry. In response to those claims, Senator Darville said that at no point was $1 million contract issued during the cleanup and restoration exercise. He indicated that before every natural disaster, heavy equipment operators are identified and put on notice of the possible need to utilize their service, sometimes during and in instances immediately following the disaster. It noted that in none of these cases government would require or request bids. Secondly, he said it is not unusual for persons to be hired in one government agency but posted to another agency, as was the case with several contracted workers. This has been the case with hundreds of employees over many years throughout the public service, Senator Darville explained. Senator Darville said he fully supports and welcomes an audit, as he is confident that the findings would prove no wrongdoing. Well, the educational sector in the country has had its share of challenges, but union officials boast of having a cordial relationship with the former ministers of education. Now that a new minister of education has been appointed, they are optimistic that a good working relationship will continue. Area Vice President of the Bahamas Union of Teachers, Quentin LaRota, is congratulating newly appointed Minister of Education, Jeffrey Lloyd. LaRota says the new minister is no stranger to their union.
In 2013, he did the swearing-in ceremony of the executives, and he did a presentation recently at our education conference in New Providence. So we are optimistic that the good working relationship we've had with the Ministry of Education under the previous minister will continue.
He says, judging from some public comments made by the Minister of Education, his appointment could spell some good news for educators in the country.
I think the teachers are very optimistic when they saw that he said recently about the pay increases, and the teachers are deserving of it. And so we look forward to healthy negotiations and relationship. I think our last agreement was a pretty good one, and if we could build on that, it only will be better for our teachers.
The AVP notes that the union is also interested in meeting with the new minister to address a number of outstanding matters.
We were owed some $5.6 million, I would say, when Minister Fitzgerald came in. That has been worked down to about $1 million. But those teachers are still, those who have gotten it, congratulations. But we still have some that are outstanding, and we need those taken care of. And then when we had our last negotiations, for some reason, the guidance counselors did not receive the pay increase that the other members of our Baga unit got. And so we want them to be sorted out as well. That's been brought to the government attention, and we just hope that we'll, sort it up. Along with, for the first time when we signed our last agreement, retirees were entitled to some benefit from what we negotiated, but they have not yet received that as well.
In news from the Crime Beat, police in Abaco are investigating the death of a 72-year-old male this past Saturday. Reports are that shortly after 8 a.m., police were called to a resident in Treasure Key, Abaco, where the lifeless body of a Caucasian male was found with a gunshot wound to the body. He was pronounced dead at the scene by the local doctor. Now, foul play is not suspected in this matter, and police are actively investigating. Meanwhile, police in Grand Bahama are investigating an armed robbery that occurred on this past Friday. Reports are that shortly after 5 p.m., an armed male entered a business establishment at the Millennium Mall situated on West Atlantic Drive and robbed that establishment of an undetermined amount of money before making good his escape on foot. Police are actively investigating this matter and are appealing to the general public for anyone with any information that can assist into this investigation to contact the Central Detective Unit at Grand Bahama at telephone numbers 350-3107 through 12, 911-919, or you may call your nearest police station. Stay with us, there's more news right after this.